Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Pits of Motor Chaos. This is your host, Dave. On the line, I got special guest, front engine nitro dragster driver, Carey Rice. How's it going, Carey?
Good tonight. Thank you for asking.
So, Carey, how did you do this year with the dragster? Did you run?
Oh yeah, we ran 4 times, 2 in Vegas. We ran once up in Sonoma. Got some buddies up there that live up there. We kind of do a summer thing up there. Run up there.
So you did 4 events?
Yeah, we did 4 this year. More last year or the year before. We slowed down this year a little bit. I kind of got a crew that they got other things going on, so we just did what we could do with the close tracks here in Vegas.
Yeah. So how'd the dragster run this year?
Oh, ran good. Look, that's a real good little car, real consistent. It doesn't fall apart on me. It doesn't do anything wicked. Just run, just put fuel in it, set timing, and go.
Awesome. So let me ask you this question, Carey. How did it all begin for you to get into drag racing?
When I was young, about 13, my older brother, Bud Rice, he lived in Phoenix, and we used to go down there for summer vacations. And he had a 68 Camaro, big block with a Lanco in it, which, of course, when you're 12, you don't know what the hell that is. But we went to the drags and watched him run, and it was, got dark and less cars in the parking lot, and he came back with a trophy and an envelope. So I think that's what was supposed to happen. I didn't realize he was winning, but it was kind of nice to be there for that.
So what year did you start drag racing?
We did street stuff like everybody else, in high school, block to block. I teamed on his car for probably 3 years, 4 years, and then I got my own probably, 6 years ago, and we've been running it pretty solid lately.
So you got the front engine dragster 6 years ago?
Yeah, I got it 6 years ago. It was originally purchased or built in Indiana, so it came from the East Coast. It had a little history previous to the owner, by the name of Roscoe Todd owned it, and he ran it, I guess, in the 70s and the 80s, and then NHRA started doing some stuff on the chassis, so you either couldn't run the car or you had to rebuild it. So him and a guy by the name of Andy Culpepper got together in, I guess it was 11 or 12, they got together, 2012, and rebuilt the car, put a new chassis under it, good chromoly, 6-bar. So we can take it to any track, anywhere. It'll go through tech. We can run anywhere. So it's not limited to any situation.
So the dragster's been good to you for the 6 years?
Oh yeah, it's been a great little car. Like I said, I hear stories. These guys show pictures and the carnage in the bottom of an oil pan and rocker arms and stuff. And I got to be honest, it never gave me a lick of trouble. I've had a couple things, but I guess it was because of my neglect more than anything. It certainly had nothing to do with the car. I had an injector hat come loose on me, or a tube one time, no big deal. I had a rocker come loose on me, but that's just part of the maintenance. But no, I've never really had any problems with the car. It's like I said, I hear the wicked stories out there, and I just don't get it. I haven't had that bad luck yet.
So you're running on nitromethane?
I ran on alcohol. It's a pure grain alcohol they run. I don't even call it methanol, however you want to call it. Some guys call it alky. It's an alky motor is what they call it. It's got to be high compression to get those to run on that. It's got a different flash point than a gasoline engine would have.
So have you ever thought about going nitro?
They talk to me about it. I got a couple guys that do run nitro, and they laugh and they put their arm around me and goes, "Oh, we can spike it up to about 18%. Won't hurt it." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know." I hear these wicked stories. They're just knocking the bottoms out of them. And I'm just one employee kind of thing. I don't have a big sponsorship or anything like that. So we run it as easy as we can. We put a number on the cow, and we know we race the track like a bracket situation. I'm an NE3 car, which is a 960, and then NE2 would be an 860, and then NE1 would be a 760. So what we try to do is you dial the car out or dial it in to hit that number the closest you can to it. So you don't really have to ring it out too bad to hit that number. And again, you're racing the track and the car, not necessarily the guy next to you.
All right. So has there ever been any drag racing drivers that have been inspirational to you over the years?
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that. My brother, Bud, he was just a real cool cat, and he was one of those guys that he showed up with the best parts he could, afford, and he gave it the best he could. And it was just the way he handled himself in the pits. We all had our rivals and stuff like that, but my brother Bud was one of them. I do like the old school guys. Some of those front engine guys from back in the day, they were the pioneers, the test monkeys. What they did was, they really laid it out on the line. To do what they did, and they didn't know what that car was going to do at 1,000 feet. And if it did it right, well, they did it again. But sometimes it didn't work out that well. But yeah, those guys were a different breed. They were a different breed for sure.
So now, what's the quickest ET you've had with this dragster?
We did in Sonoma, and it was a 938. And I tuned the car. I do it all myself, and I kind of took a heavy swat at it. We were at sea level. And I thought it should have been a little bit better. But looking back at what I did, if I'd done one thing, it might have been better. But I did two things. Either one I could have done, it probably would have been a little bit better. But I was happy with that. I was as fast as we'd ever gone so far.
So have you ever been to Bakersfield yet?
Oh, that's my very first run was at Bakersfield. We took the car. I got the car, went through it, made it safe. And I told my buddies, my John Camacho was a good friend of mine from high school, and Tony, they're ride or die. Anytime I drop that tailgate on that trailer, they're there. But anyways, I said, hey, we need to go to March meet. This car needs to go to March meet. I sent in some pictures of it. They go, oh my God, we got to go to March meet. So our very first run was a Friday. There was a full license pass. So basically, they wanted me to do a half pass, just make sure I was familiar with the car.
Yeah. So
we did that, and then the rain came in, and we got to run Saturday night between the old school floppers, round one elimination, and we were between that and the Jolly Rancher wheeling machine. You couldn't hand road it any better. Swear to it. And we were at Bakersfield, the patch, the place, and that was. We still look back on that and go, man, that was a hell of a night, wasn't it? I said, yeah, it really was. So no, that's where that car needed to be, and we made it a quest to make it that first pass there.
So any plans to ever go back there?
Oh yeah, we've been back there. We're gonna go this year. John's gonna probably get away. Oh, excuse me. He's got a 65 GTO big block car, a little front wheel motor in it, and he runs the hot rod class there. He was busy last year, and so was I. But this year we're hoping to get there. It's lining up good for my side. I'm not too sure about him. I'm going to see him next week and see what he thinks. He's still got to put a rear end in his, but we should make it. We should make it again. It's a great place. Yeah, it's the place for sure.
Yep, that's what all the drivers I interviewed that have been there. They keep telling me I need to go up there and experience all those cars up there.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Good.
They say especially if I like nitro, plenty of nitro.
Yeah, they do. They run a lot of them, and then I think a lot of those guys, even in the NA classes, they'll run some nitro, and they'll just bring their motors back. They'll bring their motors back. That's where they can run that number. There's a lot of guys that run the nitro there. Funny cars, front engine stuff, and that's a altogether different animal. That stuff's really, really sensitive, and if you do one little thing wrong, man, you can destroy a car in seconds and destroy it. So yeah, those guys they must have some backing if they can be able to do that. But I can't do it.
Yeah. Well, California seems to have all the nostalgia nitro funny car drivers out there.
Oh, they do. And like I said, you need to take a trip out there. When you pull in the parking lot and there's cars that you've seen in magazines since the 70s that are there, and there's not just 2 or 3, there's 30. It's pretty overwhelming when you go, wow, this is the Mecca. This is where it all started. Hollow ground, as they call it. Hollow ground.
Yeah, it's like back in the old days when they used to have the big funny car fields at the tracks with all the.
Oh yeah.
You see the staging lanes with all the bodies up on the funny cars.
Oh yeah, isn't that cool to see? I mean, you look at it was 64, and they were kicking half of them out of there. It's hard to get a field now and I think a lot of the nostalgic stuff is coming back. I mean, you've seen the growth in the last 10 years where these guys would rather have something that was kind of nice to look at, other than, and they're fast too. Don't get me wrong, but it's a lot cooler to look at. You know what I mean? Than some of that new stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that Chris Graves started that Funny Car Chaos event now, where you got a lot of funny cars.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
You got alcohol and nitro in Funny Car Chaos.
Oh yeah, well, like I said, you get down there, I mean, when I went down for my first time, I mean, we had a lot to do with our car kind of going around and stuff, but there had been 300 cars. 300 cars. And I just went, oh my Lord. So, and there's a lot of junior fuel cars, that front engine stuff. Then there's a lot of big blown cars out there. It's definitely something to see. I mean, if you got a vacation you got planned, put that in the works for sure.
Yep. So what was the experience like the first time driving that front engine dragster?
What was it like?
Yeah, how was it your first time step?
Well, I'll use Bakersfield because this is a great story. Me and my buddies were there, and we're getting ready to stage the car, and I'm in the staging lanes, and I'm safety belted in, and Tony's kind of looking around, and John's kind of looking around, and they come over and lean in the cockpit, and they said, we got a problem. I said, well, what's the problem? And he says, we've never staged a fuel car. And I laughed at him. I said, neither have I. So I said, watch the guys in front of you, just don't get in the way. So we staged the car, and like I said, it was a 8-mile kind of thing. But the best part about that, it was that Saturday night we were running it. I got to the 8th, and I was supposed to lift, and I lifted a little bit, but then I went right back in it, and I just stuck it and rode it all the way out the back. And I'm shooting down a dark track. There's one little light down there at the end, and you're basically shooting off into the darkness. It was unbelievable feeling. Unbelievable. You know, you were on the track, you could see the white lines, but that's all you could see, and it was the old school, the way they would have done it. Yeah, it was epic. It spins you to the seat. It raises the front wheels up, carries out a couple of car lengths, sets down, and you can feel every pop of the motor. You know, it's pretty cool. It's really, really cool. I dig it.
So now, what are some of your favorite tracks to run the dragster on?
You know, I love Vegas. They just redid it. It's as smooth as a pool table. I mean, you can't feel a bump out there. I always like it because it's a closed track. I really, really like Sonoma. They got great restaurants there. They got showers in the pits. I mean, that's almost unheard of. The weather's good there for the most of the part. But I like those two. But at any track, I like Phoenix. I like Tucson. We've been to Verona. Just about any track. I like them all. But as far as a good track, Vegas is nice. It's a real nice track. It's perfect. You couldn't get any better.
So now, Carey, currently how many crew members do you have, and who are your crew members?
I got Tony. He's my Southern California guy. He's there most of the time when I need him. And then there's John Camacho. He's up north. I got one lady that I take from here, Stephanie. She goes with me. She's really, really cool. She digs the car. She's smart. She pays attention. But normally there's 3 of us. There's me, John or Tony, and then Steph if she wants to go. But normally just 3 of us. It doesn't take much of us to get it done.
So no backup girl?
I do. Well, they don't do that. But that's the thing about it is I've never had anybody help me back it up. I just know that the staging lane's behind me, and I put it in the tracks, and I put it in reverse, and I come back. Now Tony will come up to the car and give it a look over, make sure there's no leaks. Steph's pretty good about it too. But John normally runs the camera and the quad. He comes and gets me, so he's on the other side of the lane. But Tony normally gets down there with me. Lauren, when I took Lauren, she was a lady friend of mine for a couple of years back. She was my crew car chief kind of lady. And she would get down and look, because I tell her, you got to look, you got to see if there's anything leaking on this thing. And she'd give me the thumbs up, and we'd go. But normally, that's the thing, you back up. I wish I did. But I get sidetracked. I'm like, how am I supposed to race and look at her? So, no, I don't have a backup girl. So as of yet, I don't.
Yeah, plus you want to make it look like, give it that nostalgia feel back in the day when you had all the backup girls.
You do. The thing about that is the guys that would start that, they would have a girl, of course, dressed, the way she was dressing, and they would basically bend over, and the other driver in the other lane would kind of get a real good look at her backside, and that's what kind of screwed him up a little bit, and like he had him, he had him on the light because he was thinking of something else, So it's a diversion. It can be, but God, some of those ladies are unbelievably good looking. I mean, wow. So yeah, I was like one of those.
Yeah. So you don't have no lady right now?
No, I don't. I've never actually been married or anything like that. But like I said, I was with Lauren for a couple of years, and she was really good with the car. She dug it. She got it. You know, she was really cool. But she lived up in Colorado, and you know, just salon shot and stuff like that. But she would fly into Vegas, and I'd pick her up at the airport, and we'd race for 3-4 days, and I'd take her back out. We did that for, I guess, about 2 years. We did that. I think we did 10 races together. So, and she still did it. She still, you know, calls me and sees the pictures, and she did it, and wishes she was there, that kind of thing. So, but no, I don't have a significant other right now.
Yeah, maybe one day you'll find one and she'll become your backup girl too.
Yeah. I'm all up for that. Just send your applications too. Yeah, right. Facebook.com. No, I'm just kidding.
So now, currently, you don't have any sponsors, Carey?
No, I do have one. I've got a friend of mine up the street. He runs a blown altar, and he understands the cost. And I do some help with him at his shop. He has REF, it's Racing Engineer Fabrication, and he does a lot of exhaust systems for boats and dragsters. And he's just a real good race car guy. Real smart at engine tuning. But he's my fuel sponsor. So, I work in the shop, and I always ask him. I haven't had to buy fuel since I bought that car in 5 years, and that's what's kind of cool. So he is my fuel sponsor. So I just say, hey, I need some fuel for this week, and he goes, bring your barrels. I say, okay. So I'll take it out of the truck or the trailer. So yeah, and I crew on him. I crew for his car too. So we go to the track a lot together, and I'll help him with his, and he helps me with mine. So it's more of a friendship sponsorship, I guess.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So Mark Booth is a good friend of yours, huh?
What's that?
I said Mark Booth is a good friend of yours.
Oh,
huh?
yeah. That dude's a cool cat. What's really cool is I saw the pictures when he first got the car. And I said, hey, man, go get it on, get this thing together. And we talk probably, no, I'm not kidding you, 5 times a week. We, chat back and forth. What are you doing in the car? What's going on? Do this, don't do, that kind of thing. And he called me and said, I can't find tires for this thing. Boom, there he goes. God dang, how'd you know that? Well, I got mine. So, because we run the front engine cars, it's kind of a friendship that it's different than others, I guess. But he's a cool cat.
Yeah, I broke his interview virginity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's on a cruise right now. He's out getting suntan and drinking margaritas.
Yeah, he left right after the interview I did with him.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I was joking with him about that though on Facebook. Say, I broke your interview virginity.
It's all about, man.
He was kind of nervous at first, and then he got through it fine though.
Yeah, he took to it like a duck to water.
Yeah.
He's knee deep in it, absolutely.
Yeah. So now, can you tell us what goes in the preparation to get that dragster ready for a weekend of drag racing?
Yeah, normally what we'll do is like, actually I'm going to do it in 2 weeks. I got to go to Vegas to have the chassis recertified. So what I'll do is I'll pull it out, and I have to skin the car, take it all off so they can check the chassis. And I'll pull all the fluids out of it. I'll roll the motor over, check all the valves. I got a stethoscope that I'll run down inside the motor just to look around inside the pistons and stuff like that, like a camera. I've never had any problems with it, but it's just something I do for that. And then I just pickle it, what they call, I'll take Marvelous Mist Oil and I'll run it from the tank all the way down through the injector pump, all the way up top through the valves, the barrel valves, and down into the injectors, just to keep it wet. And they call it pickling. So when you put it away, the alcohol has a tendency of drying up and make it almost like a, like crust you find on a glass that dried up with water in it kind of thing.
Yeah.
It gets that in there, and then that'll plug up the screens and make a hot cylinder, and then you'll burn the heck out of it. So I just pickle it when I put it away, and then like when I go to Vegas, I'll pull it all apart, drain the tranny fluid, motor oil, just kind of give it a once over. But it takes normally, I don't know, about a day if I stay with it. I'll charge up the battery in the backup battery in it, and with a trans brake, roll the valves in it, just kind of give it a good once over, tighten all the bolts, look like that. But I do it all myself. I don't really let anybody into that part of it because I'm riding in it, so I can only point finger at myself if it happens. So.
Now, do you ever take the dragster to any car shows and cackle it?
Yeah, I do. I when I first got it, I used to take it. And the thing of it is it's so odd and unique when you put it in a car show that people are like, dang, it draws a flock of people to it. But yeah, I used to take it out when I first got it. But and I had a friend of mine that we took it out. That was a friend of his had passed away, and we did kind of everybody brought their hot rods out and dragsters and whatever. And we lit up the sky with the exhaust and threw a big flame up in the air for her and all that. So that was pretty cool. That meant a lot to me. Meant a lot to the people that were there. It probably meant more than any other shows I've been to for just sparking it. But yeah, I get it out there every now and then. But normally when we take it out, we take it to the track. I got other car shows, but trucks that I show, so it's that one sits in the trailer most of the time for that.
Now, do you prefer the quarter mile or 8th mile track?
I like the quarter, and the reason I say that, when you're running 8, is you're really starting to get it on, and you're starting to feel the car pull on you and stuff like that. On an 8th mile, about the time the fun starts happening, it's over with. But either way, normally, if you're going to win a race, it happens in an 8th mile anyways. You either get him on the jump or you got him by the car. So it's pretty much determined by the 8th anyways, most of the time, unless somebody's got a real big motor and they're coming on you. But no, I'll race 8th. I don't care. I'll race quarter. It doesn't matter to me. But most of the tracks in my area are a quarter-mile track. The only one that's 8th is a little one down in San Diego, Verona. Neat little track, and that's fun. They put on a good show. So do a lot of nostalgic stuff there out of the Southern California stuff. So a lot of people show up for those. But again, it's 8th mile, which is fine. It's just it's not quarter.
Right. So now, where do you get all your fire safety equipment from?
I do. The first time I did Impact, only because I like the look of it, and I can get it measured to my. Not you can get them all measured, but I did the Impact with that front engine car. You have to have a certain level. There's 5, 10, 15, 20. So we went with the best I could get. Was the 20, because I don't have I have a floorboard in the car, but I don't have the transmission's exposed. So you have to have at least a 15 or more because of the transmission fluid. If it happens to go loose on you, they want something thicker on you so they'll burn it. But I did Impact, but I seem to be going to Race Quip on my belts, and I'll probably stay with Impact for a little bit longer. I don't know, like I said, it's none of it's cheap, but I like the way the Impact looks. I think I like that cut. It's kind of cool.
Now, what's your front engine dragster? Have you ever raced against any nitro dragsters?
Have you ever did what?
Have you ever raced against nitro guys?
No, I haven't. But I raced against some pretty good guys. Like I said, I go up against when we go to Vegas. I have to run in the Super Pro category because I have a push vehicle and I'm assisted. Because it doesn't have a battery in its own self, and it has to be pulled to the line and pulled out the line. So you have to race in a certain category, but those are big money cars. So it's kind of neat to go up against the little guy going up against the big guy. And I put a few of them on the trailer. That's the best part when I'm doing with your basic motor. Hell, I don't even run a tachometer in that car. I just run it out until I feel it fall over and shift it. And I can pretty much index my number and get it really, really close. And that's the funnest part of it is when you take one of those $250,000 cars and they look at you and go, huh? And you're going rounds and they're on the trailer. So I go up against them, but it's not that I want to. It's that I have to. And I won't change the cars. I won't put a battery in the car just because it didn't come with a battery in the car. I'll continue to do it just like they did before. And then I'll take my licks, I guess I should say.
Now, did you say your dragster was alcohol injected or blown alcohol?
I haven't injected. This particular car was built in 1961. It was a 61 Logie, which is a pretty reputable name in the industry. But what happened was this car became not certifiable. So this guy, Roscoe Todd, they took the car, took it apart completely, and they built another chassis, inch for inch, square for square, just like that chassis was, but in chromoly. And now it's certifiable. But the injected on this one that I run on this one is a Hillborn, and it's one of 154th one ever made. It's a 1959 Hillborn intake manifold. The newest mechanical part that I have on that car is a 1965 block. Every single thing else is older than that. The tranny, the motor, the spindles, the heads, everything on it. The rims, for God's sakes, are 59s. So, but we brought it up to spec, and it's safe. It's just a neat little car. It's very correct, as they would say. But yeah, I run an old Hillborn with the pills in it. It's fun. it took me a little bit of time to figure it out. On a carbureted car, you can twist 3/4 of a turn, and it doesn't do a whole lot. Well, this one here, you twist it a quarter turn, and it's completely different. It's either starving out or it's chasing everybody out of the garage. It's just so much fuel to it. So that took a little bit of time to learn the barrel valves in it and stuff like that to get it to perform the way I want it to. So, but yeah, that's an old school Hilborn on that one.
So now with the burnout and the run, how much alcohol do you burn on that car?
How many runs you said?
How much alcohol you burn?
It holds 3.5 gallons, and I'll fill it up. I'll probably put 2 gallons in at each pass. What I'll do is I'll start it up in the pits, and I'll run it up to the staging lanes, and I'll get the heat up in it. It depends on the weather. If it's July, of course not. But in this time of year, I'll run it all the way into the staging lanes and shut it off, and then they'll start me up underneath the arches or in the water box, what have you. I'll do my burnout. I'll come back. I'll stage the car, clear it out a little bit, adjust the belts, and I'll run it all the way out, and then Vegas is a longer track, so at a quarter mile, you probably got at least another quarter mile, so we need a little bit longer than that before you can even make a turn, and then you bring it back, and I'll start it out at the timing booth. So it's probably roughly 3/4 of a mile I run the car, but of course in the quarter mile you run it hard, and I'll go through almost 2 gallons of gas, which isn't a lot by the nitro standards, but it's quite a bit on the gas standards. So it's about 2 gallons a pass.
Now, on an alcohol car, can you start it up right on alcohol, or you got to start up with gas first?
Normally, what I'll do is I've got a prime bottle that I have a straight gasoline, and I won't touch the throttle at all. I'll just spray it in each of the 8 injectors and hit it. It'll flutter for 5 seconds maybe, and then do it again. And then I'll push the fuel system on. Once you get the pistons and the internals kind of warm, it'll actually take to that alcohol, because I'm dumping 3 times the fuel through those injectors than a normal gas motor would back to that cubic inch. So you got to get it warm inside. Thanksgiving, we were out there with Lauren, excuse me, and I went to start it, and I flooded it out. I pulled the plugs. I flooded it out. I pulled the plugs. I flooded it out. I couldn't get it to run. And a buddy of mine comes over and says, dude, you can't start that with alcohol. It's 38 degrees. So I took my prime bottle and I filled it up with gas out of the generator, and it lit right up. So, like I said, you learn these things as you go on. But I always try to keep the motor heat as warm as I can all the time. I don't really care if it's summer or not. I want to keep heat in it. Summertime, you start it in the morning. You don't have to touch it until it gets dark. It just keeps the heat in it. But the wintertime, it cools down. It's a port block, which means it's solid. There's no water in the motor. So once you get the motor warm, the internals stay pretty warm most of the time.
Yeah, because I know with the nitro guys, they can't start up on nitro because they said it'd blow up or something like that.
Yeah, they start theirs normally with alcohol, methanol, and you watch a lot of times they've got like a prime bottle, and you can hear it, probably 30 seconds into it, you'll see them switch a butterfly and pull it over, and they'll thumbs up to the driver. That means he's in charge of the pedal, and then they just start cackling and burping, and you can definitely tell the difference between 2 fuels, for sure.
All right, now, what have been some of the milestones of your career so far in drag racing?
Yeah, well, the milestone to me was, and I know it sounds silly, but when you're growing up, I always wanted to have a car that went in the 9s. So when we got in the 9s, that was pretty epic. Going a couple of rounds, like I said, I had my lady friend with me, and we went down to Test and Tune, and she says, well, let's buy in, and let's get in this. The car's running good. You seem to be doing your game. And I said, all right, let's try it. And we were an 80-car field, and we went 4 rounds. And she just looked at me and like, yeah, no, well, what are we going to do? I said, well, if we go 1 more round, we're out of gas. So we were going to have to borrow gas or lose, and unfortunately we did. But to get down to that small of class, and these were all good guys. I mean, the guy that won it, he was one of the better ones. But milestones, God, having the car is really cool. Being able to drive it, and then tune it, I like to wrench on cars. I'm a pretty good mechanic. So being able to take it out of the trailer and kind of know what it's going to do, and maybe make some adjustments and get it to respond, that's a pretty good reward as far as a milestone, because you just drive regular door cars, you don't get that opportunity, or street cars.
Now, have you had any accidents or close calls at all throughout your 6 years?
Yeah, I did. And it was at Bakersfield. What we did is we got in the water box and we were headed out and doing the burnout. And I went from first gear to second gear, and it started going a little bit right on me. And I thought, man, I better lift. It's not going to come around. And when I let off, it grabbed traction. It shot from the left lane into the right lane and back into the left lane. And when I stopped, it was again for Saturday night, in March meet. When I stopped, the front wheels were in the right lane, and back wheels were in the left lane, and I was 20,000 people on their feet clicking pictures and hooping and hollering. I'm like, holy God Almighty, what did I do? And my buddy come up to me, Tony, my crew guy, he looks at me and said, "You all right?" I said, "Not really." We backed it up, staged it, and shot it out there. And but yeah, that was probably one of the closest calls I've ever had. And I was a rookie at it. I definitely was overdriving the car, but we figured it out now. We don't have that problem anymore.
All right, well, knock on wood, you're never gonna have any accidents.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I've come out of the groove a couple times going down, and you just steer back into it. It's not that big of a deal. I've never had anything that was I really had to let off and hit the binders or anything. So.
Right. So now, what would you consider your most memorable time in drag racing so far?
Well, like I said, just getting to the track, and being able to pull the car out and not have any problems and putting it back in one piece. They're all memorable. They really are. Every time you get in the car, it feels like the first time. I wish I could. My guys behind me, they get excited as heck, and I can only imagine what they'd do if they were in that car. I wish the damn thing sit 5 or 6 people so I could take everybody for rides. It's a hoot. It's a hoot. It's a hoot. So memorable, every dang one of them, every time I strapped in. Every time.
So what was the most memorable win?
I guess I gotta say it was that one in Vegas when I came around that real big car. He was one to be beat, and my win light came on, and he didn't say hi, bye, or nothing to me when he went by me. Normally you stop, shake hands, say hey, thanks a lot for the race, appreciate it, and he just kept going. So I guess he didn't think it was as good as I did, but yeah, that was it. I think. I like to put those big guys on the trailer. They're good people, but when you got a low budget situation, you're not supposed to win. You're just supposed to be filler. Well, I wasn't filler that day.
Yeah. So the underdog won.
What's that?
I said the underdog took the victory.
Yeah, well, we didn't victory, but we put him on the trailer. Like I said, we went rounds that we weren't supposed to, and they kept coming over, and they go, "How are you doing this? You don't even have a tack in this car." And I said, "What do you mean?" "Well, you keep indexing a faster time, you're hitting it." I'm like, "It's cooling down. And we should be going faster." So it was one of those, you just throw dirt in the wind and line up your sticks, and that's what you did. I was guessing, and they call it black magic, but I was just guessing at the car, and it was responding to it. So I got lucky, or I can do it every now and then. It's not too bad. It's not too bad.
So how many trophies or plaques have you won throughout your career so far?
Well, I haven't. I've got a couple plaques for show. First, second place, stuff like that. No first, no trophies, anything like that. We're working on that. We're going to do something that we're hoping to do something like that. I guess I should say. I've like I said, just going there and completing the path and nothing breaking, and that's damn near a win in itself.
Yeah. So since you've been doing this front engine dragster, have you had a greatest competitor out there?
I got a competitor. Actually, I got a rival. Is what he is. His name's Hal Sanguinetti. And without saying too much, I don't want to give this cat too much press, but he owes me a race. And anytime he wants me to, I will drop my trailer door. Rain, sun, or shine, he's telling me when and what track. But anyways, we'll leave that alone. But rivalries, I got a couple guys I like to race against. They're good. We're good. We eat dinners together. We drink beer together. But I really like racing against the Webbers because if you can get around them, you've accomplished something. I like to race Mike Oblatavli. He's got a beautiful little Fiat. If we put these two cars on the stage, it looks like it's a flashback to the '60s. So people just stop. The announcer goes, "Hey, but you need to look at this. This is the way it was." We can't hear him, of course, but that's what he's saying. So rivalries, they're kind of fun rivalries, but they're good people. Like I said, we carpool together, and if you need a spare, we give it to you. If you need plugs, we give them to you. It doesn't matter. But I don't got really a whole lot of rivalries, but I do got got a guy I want to race again.
Now, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions?
Not huge superstitions. Like I said, what I'll do is I kind of get in my zone and just take a look at the car. I like to watch a little bit of the racing before some of the big power cars to see what they do because I don't weigh a lot, and if these guys can't get their big power cars down through there, then the track might be a little slick. But as far as rituals, no, not really. I don't. I don't have any rituals or anything like that. I would just, before you know it, you're there, and before you know it, you're back to the trailer. So, but I like to spend just a few minutes to kind of get my stuff together and just kind of realize where I'm at, and you got to do what you got to do.
Right.
That's cute.
All right. So now you're ready for a few fun questions here.
Actually, hit on me, man.
All right. So, do you have any hobbies outside of drag racing?
Yeah, I do. I like to fish. I was a tournament bass angler for 10, 15 years. I still like doing that. I like to golf. I built a few golf courses, so in my earlier life or whatever. So I like getting out there to do that. And I don't know. I like chasing girls. I mean, is that a hobby?
If you could do the time traveling and go backwards in time, would you do anything differently with the drag racing career?
I would have got started earlier. Like I said, I put a note in my head once the kids were grown and gone and stuff like that. I was going to look for a car, and I don't know if I could have done it as much when they were young or even when I was younger, but it would have been nice to at least get a little bit more education on it, and just maybe be a better tuner earlier, kind of thing. But no, I'm all right with where I'm at. Like I said, I was around race cars almost all my life, between sprint cars and dragsters and drag boats and stuff like that. So I was pretty knee deep in the auto world all my life, anyways.
Now, if someone were to come up to you and give you like $500 million to build a brand new drag race track, where would you even consider building a new track at? And what kind of features would you want to put into that track?
Like I said, I'm spoiled rotten at Vegas because it's perfect. I mean, there's 250 bathrooms in a row. I mean, everything's covered except for the main grandstands. I know that they're not cheap to build. I know they're not cheap to maintain. We've got a guy up here that's been trying to build a racetrack, and we fight the heat up here because it gets so hot up here, or where they wanted to build it anyways. So shade would be one. I just think that the concrete surface seems to be the way to go as far as even maintenance of it, and it doesn't split, doesn't crack. But yeah, something like that. Just another nice little course would be better. Like I said, I'm spoiled. I'm an hour away from Vegas, and I can leave here at 3 and be racing at 6. So it's not that difficult for me to get away.
All right, now what's your favorite food to eat?
Oh man, I was hoping you were going to ask that. Charboiled cheeseburger, no onions, no tomatoes, extra pickles, fries, and a Coke. Bring it on.
So favorite beverage would be Coke?
What's that?
Favorite beverage would be Coke then?
Am I a good cook?
No, I said your favorite beverage would be Coke then? Coke.
Well, it would be, not a adult beverage. Adult beverage would be Patron Silver with a Coors Light. That would be my favorite one. But yeah, Pepsi, Coke, whichever. So
you're a cola guy for non-alcoholic.
Yeah, I really am. Give me a Crown Royal, I don't care. I'll drink it.
How about Jack and Coke?
What's that?
How about Jack and Coke?
No, I do that. I like a good bourbon. That doesn't upset me. I like a good bourbon, little Maker's Mark, or possibly a Knob Creek or something. I enjoy bourbon.
All right. So, what's your favorite movie of all time?
Man, it has to be American Graffiti, and then American Graffiti 2, and then Heart Like Wheels. That's a good standby on Saturday night.
Oh yeah, can't beat that Shirley Muldowney movie.
No, what's cool about that is that the car originally John built, and it's in the movie there that you see. That is an identical spitting image to my car. Identical. Wheelbase, engine, configuration, everything. Identical car, except for the color.
All right. So, what's your favorite music to listen to?
I like rock, 60s or 70s, 80s. But I'm Elvis. Good country. If it's got a good beat, easy to dance to, I'm your guy. I'll listen to it.
All right, so what's been your most embarrassing moment on the track?
Well, it has to be that Bakersfield thing, most embarrassing. Actually, Sonoma. We made our first pass there, and the light was down, and I was staging the car, and I certainly thought the light was green, but the gentleman that was running the starter, he had his trigger in his hand, and he was taking the coil on the ground and kind of moving it, and I thought he was giving me the motion. Take off, dummy, take off. So I matted it, took off, and I went to the timing booth, and I said, hey, where's my time slip? And they said, yeah, you don't normally get a time slip till you leave on time. I said, what? Yeah, you left a little early. So that was my most embarrassing part right there. Yeah, that was probably it.
So what was your favorite cartoon growing up as a kid?
Bugs Bunny was the one. You know what I mean? It seemed like he was, carrying it on. But, Scooby-Doo was cool. I liked the Mystery Machine. All that. Anything back in the 60s, 70s, I was all that.
Now, how about as far as a TV show? Did you have a favorite TV show when you were growing up?
I grew up. Dad was military, so he watched what he watched. I don't know, maybe like that Baba Black Sheep stuff. Some of the stuff that he was watching, I watched with him. So it wasn't really my favorite, but that's one TV house. That's what you watched. So, yeah, I just remember watching a lot of shows with him. It's kind of cool.
So now, how important do you think it is for kids to come on and watch drag racing these days?
I'm sorry, what's that?
I said, how important do you think it is for kids to come on and watch drag racing in this day and age?
Oh, it's fantastic. Bring it on. Like I said, we race in Vegas, and there's 30 or 40 of those kids down there racing those little cars. Have you ever seen the cars? They're beautiful.
Oh, Junior Dragsters? Yeah, Junior Dragsters. Yeah, there's a lot of them now.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And they're just, the cars are beautiful. There's a little guy named Lewis back there in New York. He was a Junior Dragster. And he's good. I think he's going to be something to deal with when he gets older. I mean, this kid gets got the light. He's on it. He don't get intimidated by nothing. And the Webbers that I race against, they all came from Junior Dragsters. They're unbeatable. That's going to be a tough one to. It's going to be tough. The next couple of years will be tough. I mean, these kids are good. So I got a friend of mine that runs a gasser, and he doesn't really particularly care for it, but he runs like 8-10s and 8s, and I said, little Junior Dragsters are running 7-10s. What? I said, they're faster than you, pal. So he didn't think that was their place, and I'm like, they're faster than you. That's their place. Yeah, that's humbling. He didn't like that too much.
Man,
but no, they're fast too. Those little cars are fast.
Man, they're not cheap either.
No. Well, you can, if you hurt them, they're not. But you can probably get a good roller for, I don't know, no motor, nothing like that. But $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for a real pretty one. But I know the motors aren't cheap. Those Brockzillas, I mean, those things are up there now. They're full aluminum, and they run on methanol. So they got to have some pretty good internals in them.
So now, if you're at the track for a day of racing, do you barbecue?
Normally what we'll do is John takes care of that. John, in between eliminations and qualifying, he'll make sure we got some good food. But we normally eat, like a lot of times, because it's so warm out there, we'll eat a lot of cantaloupe, a lot of watermelon, bananas, just for the potassium. Because I cramp up a lot in the heat because we lose a lot of water. And then, you're stuck in that damn fire suit 3/4 of the day. But my main menu is cantaloupe and watermelon. And bananas and stuff like that, just because of potassium reasons. And like I said, John will put on, he'll do burgers or he'll do ribs or something like that, chicken, when we get done. So we always, there's always somebody eating somewhere. You never starve at the racetrack, I can guarantee that.
Yeah, so now, Carey, if people want to, if people are listening to this interview right now and they want to know where you're going to be running at, what's the best way for them to find a schedule?
The best way is going to Las Vegas Drag Racing Association, and they've got the full schedule there. But again, we have a little bit of a set. Like I said, we're going to do Sonoma in July again. I think we're going to do Verona in May. They've got a nostalgic meet out there. We're going to start in Vegas on the 26th, 7th, and 8th this month, and then we're going to try to do the majority of the bracket racing. I think there's 4 before it gets too warm, and then before we go to July in Sonoma, and then there's one in Central California that I really want to hit this year. It's called Eagle Field. And they do a lot of nostalgia on the old runway, and it's arm drop, it's real deal stuff. And I think that the car should probably be there. I get a few people that ask me if I'm going, and I'd really like to make that show this year.
All right, cool. Well, Carey, I want to thank you very much for taking time to do this interview.
Yeah,
and,
no problem, man. Appreciate you calling me.
And Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, you too, sir.
And I wish you the best of luck this year on your drag racing this year.
Yeah, good. Thank you. I'm going to need it. I'm going to need it.
We'll do another follow-up interview later. We'll see how you're doing.
Yeah, give me a shout in the middle of summer. I'll see how good it went or how bad it went.
All right. Well, you have a good night, Carey.
You enjoy your night, sir. Thank you kindly.
All right. Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.